Not all success stories end happy, especially in Hollywood. Some of the biggest stars start with nothing and make it huge, but later they lose everything. Sometimes it's because of drugs, mental health problems, or bad money choices. A few famous people have actually ended up living on the street. Some make a comeback, others don't. Keep watching to see which celebrities lost it all and became homeless. Margot Kidder played Lois Lane in the Superman movies with Christopher Reeve. She was a real Hollywood star and even dated famous guys like Richard Pryor and Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. So everyone was shocked when she ended up wandering the streets because of schizophrenia and bad depression. She slept in cardboard boxes and people's backyards in Los Angeles. People saw her looking messy. Her front teeth were gone, and her hair was cut really short. This all started after a big manic episode in 1996. Her family and the police finally found her living in a box behind some bushes in Glendale, California. While she was on the streets, she asked strangers for cigarettes. Some kind people paid for a motel room for her one night. In the end, she went to a private mental hospital and started getting help. She later spoke up for mental health and said, "We are all just one breath away from mental illness or homelessness, all the things we usually look down on." Erin Moran got famous at 14 for playing Joni Cunningham on Happy Days, but later in life she spent all her money like crazy and ended up broke and homeless. She lost her California house in 2010. Then she and her husband moved in with his old mom in a trailer in Indiana. That didn't last because one night she came home drunk and got in a big fight with her mother-in-law. The mother-in-law kicked her out of the trailer park. After that, she almost split up with her husband and just moved from motel to motel, with nowhere to stay. People saw her looking really rough near a cheap hotel. Sadly, she died broke and homeless from a heroin overdose. Dana Plato was the girl from the sitcom Different Strokes. Her life was super messy. When the show ended, she had trouble with money and ended up homeless for a while, not long after she died from a drug overdose. She started on the show at 14, but she was already doing drugs behind the scenes. After the show, she got in scandals, robbed a video store, forged prescriptions, went to jail, and had to go to rehab. In 1999, she was living in cheap Oklahoma motels because she had no home. She told people she was clean now, but just weeks later, she died from an overdose. The police said it was suicide. The day before she died, she went on the Howard Stern radio show and admitted she was an alcoholic and addict. She said she was sober, but callers were mean and doubted her. Many think that pushed her over the edge. Lonnie Wilson got famous as a fitness model in magazines. She even married Baywatch star Jeremy Jackson. But because of meth addiction and mental health problems, she's now homeless on Venice Beach. She blames a lot on her ex-husband and says their marriage was violent. One time he tried to strangle her. She also says she can't live inside any building because electricity hurts her. She claims she got electrocuted every day for almost a year, and now her body picks up electricity, chemicals, metals, everything. Nobody knows if that's real or just an excuse for the drugs that ruined her life. MC Hammer was a huge 90s rap star with 3 Grammys, Parachute Pants, The Typewriter Dance, and Hammer Time. He had a giant 40,000-square-foot mansion that cost $30 million to fix up, 17 cars, 2 helicopters, a private jet, and racehorses. He paid 200 people to work for him. But when music styles changed, he wasn't popular anymore. He kept spending anyway and ended up $13 million in debt and owing $800,000 in taxes. He had to sell everything and went from super rich to homeless for a while. Later, he got a smaller house, started doing shows again, saved money, and got back on his feet. John Michael Vincent was the hot guy from the TV show Airwolf. He had the perfect beach body and all-American look, but alcohol, drugs, and bad luck destroyed him. He got arrested for cocaine, bar fights, drunk driving, and hitting people. He had many car crashes while drunk and broke tons of bones. In the end, they had to cut off his right leg, so he used a fake leg or wheelchair. All the drinking and drugs made him lose his home. He lived alone in the countryside in Mississippi and North Carolina until he died at 74. Leif Garrett was a huge teen idol singer and actor. He started hard drugs at 14. Right before turning 18, he crashed his mom's Porsche while drunk and high going to buy cocaine. His friend ended up paralyzed for life. He kept getting in trouble with drugs and alcohol, went broke in 2001 with only his clothes, some stuff, and $350 cash. His mom gave him $1,000 a month, but he still had no house. He went to jail and rehab many times. Sharon Osbourne once said on TV, "Leif Garrett is living under a bridge, and he's saving a spot for you, Justin Bieber." Mindy McCready was a famous country singer and mom of two. Her life went way downhill with addiction. Her boyfriend was found shot in the head. 1 month later, she shot her dog and then herself at age 37. What really broke her was finding out her kids would go live with her mom, who she hadn't spoken to in years. She fought drugs, mental illness, and personal problems her whole life, and it ended her family and her life. David Cassidy was the cute singer from the Partridge Family. He got hooked on alcohol and drugs and ended up homeless. He had messy marriages, kids with different women, and lots of addiction trouble. He got arrested for DUI many times and admitted he was an alcoholic. He also got busted buying drugs and picking up prostitutes. His life was total chaos until he lost everything, including a place to live. Sugar Ray Williams was an NBA superstar and captain of the Knicks. In 2010, people found him sleeping in his Buick car in Florida. He said the NBA doesn't take care of retired players, and he's just one of many who need help. He went bankrupt, couldn't keep jobs, and had bad luck. No drugs or gambling, just bad luck. He died in 2013 from colon cancer. Bobby Driscoll won an Academy Award as a kid star for Disney. Later, he got into drugs, went to prison, and when he got out, he was still addicted and broke. He did a couple small jobs, but nothing big. He died penniless and homeless from an overdose in 1968. 2 kids found his body in an abandoned building in New York. Nobody claimed the body, so he was buried in an unmarked grave. People didn't even know he died until years later. He once said, "I became a beatnik and a bum. I had no home. My clothes were at my parents' house, but I didn't live anywhere." Iran Barkley was a boxing champion who made $5 million in the 80s and 90s, but he spent it all crazy and ended up homeless, sleeping in subway cars and cheap motels in New York. His niece let him stay for a while, but then he was back on the street. Later, a charity helped him get an apartment, and he started teaching boxing to kids. Natasha Lyonne was big in the 90s, with American Pie and other movies. Drugs and legal trouble kicked her out of her apartment and onto the streets. She got arrested for DUI and ended up in hospital with serious addiction and health problems. But she turned it around. She got clean, starred in Orange is the New Black, made her own show Russian Doll, and now stars in Poker Face. Danny Bonaduce was the kid from the Partridge Family. He fought alcohol and drugs from a young age and became homeless as an adult. He lived in his car behind the Cines Theater in Hollywood and still signed autographs for fans from the car window. He said, "I was still famous, but nobody knew I lived behind a dumpster. He got clean, became a radio DJ, got married again, and later retired because of health problems. Houston McTeer was called the fastest human alive in high school. He ran 100 yards in 9.0 seconds. He got on the 1980 Olympic team, but the U.S. boycotted, so he never competed. After that, he fell into drugs and slept on Santa Monica Beach for almost 3 years. An older woman helped him get off the streets. Now he's married, and married to a former Swedish runner. Brett Butler starred in the sitcom Grace Under Fire and was nominated for a Golden Globe. She fought drug addiction, went to rehab a lot, then moved to a farm in Georgia with 15 pets. When money ran out, she lived in a homeless shelter for a long time. Now she's trying to come back with stand-up comedy and wants her own reality show about being psychic. Willie Ames played in 8 is Enough and Charles in Charge. He lost his job, money, wife, and kid super fast. He slept in parking lots, under bushes, and in parks. He once made over $1 million a year at his peak, then suddenly had nothing. He said, "I never thought it could happen that fast. I felt ashamed sleeping under bushes." Later he passed money tests, became a financial advisor, went back to acting, and now lives in Vancouver and L.A. Rocky Lockridge was a boxing champion. After he retired in 1992, he got hooked on crack, lost his family and money, went to prison for burglary, then lived on the streets of New Jersey for 10 years. He even had a stroke that made him walk crooked. All the weekend parties with alcohol and cocaine plus boxing injuries ruined his body and bank account. Marvin Gaye was a legendary soul singer with huge hits like What's Going On, Sexual Healing, and Let's Get It On. Behind the music, he fought cocaine addiction, money problems, and family fights, especially with his dad. On April 1, 1984, one day before his 45th birthday, his father shot and killed him during an argument. Amanda Peterson played the popular cheerleader Cindy Mancini in the 1987 movie Can't Buy Me Love with Patrick Dempsey. She was a huge 80s teen star, but she fought drugs and mental health problems when her career slowed down. She left Hollywood and stayed out of sight. On July 3, 2015, just days before turning 44, she died from an accidental drug overdose.